Think about the last thing you started full of hope. The fitness plan you swore would stick this time, the course you bought at midnight certain it would finally change your life, the side project, the language app, the novel you were actually going to write this year. Remember that one day feeling? Unstoppable? Now look around. The running shoes by the door, barely worn. The continue watching row stuffed with shows you'll never go back to. The app still guilt-tripping you with reminders months later. The book, face down on a nightstand, stuck on the same chapter since who knows when. Here's what nobody tells you. You didn't quit because you're lazy or weak or just not a finisher. You quit in one very specific place, the middle. The start is exciting and the finish is thrilling, but that long, foggy stretch in between, where the beginning's far behind and the end is nowhere in sight, that's where motivation quietly dies, every time, for everyone. And it's not a mystery. There's a well-documented reason your drive collapses right there. And once you see it, you can engineer your way through that stretch instead of abandoning one more thing in it. It's called the goal gradient effect, and it might be the most useful thing nobody ever taught you about actually finishing what you start. The idea was first spotted in 1932 by a psychologist named Clark Hull, who was watching rats run a maze toward food. He noticed something funny. The rats ran faster the closer they got to the meal, not steady the whole way, accelerating at the end. The pull of the goal got stronger as the distance shrank. Turns out we're not so different. Our motivation intensifies the closer we feel to a finish line. Near the end, effort surges because the reward feels real and reachable, so we push. That's a goal gradient. And the same effect, flipped around, explains the misery of the middle when the finish feels impossibly far away and the pull goes weak, so we sputter and stall. So the slump isn't a character flaw. It's just a low point on a curve, the spot where there's no nearby finish tugging you forward. And there's a brilliant twist on this from a more recent study. Researchers handed out coffee loyalty cards. One group got a card that needed 10 stamps for a free coffee, starting from 0. A second group got a card that needed 12 stamps, but 2 already stamped for them. Do the math. Both groups had to buy 10 more coffees. Identical effort. But the group that started with a little head start finished their cards faster and far more of them finished at all. Just feeling closer to the goal made them try harder. That hands us the tactic we'll come back to. If motivation comes from feeling close, you can manufacture that feeling on purpose. Put those two pieces together and the whole strategy falls out. Don't run at one distant goal across a giant empty valley. Break the long haul into small chunks, each with its own visible end, and give yourself a head start into the first one. Instead of a single far-off summit, you get a staircase of nearby wins, and the gradient keeps pulling you, step after step, the whole way up. Let me make it real. Someone sets out to run a long marathon-style track workout. At the start, motivation spikes. Fresh legs, big goal, let's go. And they know the very end will feel great too, kicking hard for the line. But then comes the vast middle. Lap after identical lap, the scenery never changing. The start is a distant memory. The finish is hours away. This is the motivation valley, the exact stretch where the brain starts whispering, why are we even doing this? Let's just stop. Their pace sags. Every lap feels heavier than the last. Not because their legs gave out, because there's nothing close to aim at. So they change the game. Instead of running toward one faraway finish, they plant little finish lines all along the track. Get to mile 5, that's a win. Reach mile 13, checkpoint, celebrate it. And when even that feels far, they shrink it down further, just to get to that next lamppost, just this one lap. Each tiny target is close enough to pull. And here's the aha. The distance didn't change at all. The run is exactly as long as it was, but the valley disappeared. Because now there was always a nearby finish line tugging them forward. They took one impossible feeling goal and quietly swapped it for a dozen very doable ones, and the goal gradient did the rest. Same person, same race. They just stopped staring at the horizon and started running at the next flag. So how do you actually use this at work? Stop staring at the distant deadline and start building closer ones. Take a months-long project. It's a motivation valley waiting to happen. One giant deadline. Miles of murky middle. Most people just circle the final due date and sprint hard for a few days. Then they feel their energy quietly drain through the long stretch where nothing is due and nothing feels finished, until the panic of the deadline finally yanks them back to life at the very end. So don't aim at the deadline. Break the project into milestones with tangible mini finishes. This week's deliverable, this phase wrapped, this section shipped, and make them visible. A checklist you physically tick off, a progress bar, a done column that keeps growing. Each completed chunk becomes a finish line you can actually see, and crossing it pulls you straight into the next. You stop running at a far-off horizon and start running at the nearest flag. And when you set the tracker up, don't start at cold zero. Count the research and prep you've already done and mark the project underway before day one. That's the coffee cart head start, and feeling like you've already begun is exactly what makes you push to finish. Now the personal side, where big goals love to stall out right in the middle. Think about get fit or learn a language, the exact goals from the start of this video. They're basically all middle, a far-off finish with nothing nearby to aim at. So motivation leaks out fast. And here's a trap most of us fall into. When the fire starts to fade, we try to relight it by making the goal even bigger. Lose 30 pounds, become totally fluent. But that only shoves the finish line further away and makes the dead middle even longer. Do the exact opposite. Build the finish lines in close. Set checkpoints you can actually reach soon, your first 10 workouts, your first short conversation in the new language, and let each one genuinely count. Don't save all your satisfaction for the far-off finish, or you'll run out of fuel before you ever arrive. Stay locked onto the immediate reachable challenge in front of you, not the months-away dream version of yourself. Cross one small line, feel the pull, and let it carry you to the next. Now, before you go build 100 finish lines, here's the catch. Because the goal gradient has a backfire mode most people walk straight into. The first trap is a crash right after a win. The pull is stronger nearer a finish, which means the moment you cross one, the pull vanishes. There's suddenly nothing close to chase, and you stall harder than before. You felt this. You've hit the big deadline, shipped the thing, and then lose a whole week to nothing. The fix is to line up your small next finish line before you cross the current one, so there's always a fresh pull waiting on the other side. The second trap is the fake finish line. The gradient only fires for finishes your brain actually believes in. A checkpoint you didn't really earn or a milestone so trivial, it means nothing. It lights up nothing at all. The wins have to be real and a little bit earned. Close enough to reach, but not so empty they don't register. Use it well, and the middle stops being where things go to die. Use it carelessly, and you just collect a pile of meaningless check marks. Real, close, and one's always waiting ahead. That's the whole trick. So here's the whole thing in one sentence. Motivation grows as you near a finish line. So to get through the middle, build lots of small, close finish lines and give yourself a head start, instead of staring at one far-off goal. Here's your one move this week. Take one goal that feels far away and stalled and carve out the very next small finish line you could actually reach in the next few days. Make it visible somewhere you'll see it. Then forget the summit for now and just run to that. And tell me in the comments, what's a goal whose middle you're stuck in right now? Subscribe for a new mental model every week, and I'll see you in the next one.